In the sterile humming silence of the Pentagon's briefing rooms, a shift is occurring, one that bypasses the sleek, invisible curves of stealth technology for something far more visceral. They call it the F-15EX Eagle II. To the untrained eye, it is a ghost from the Cold War, a 50-year-old silhouette returning to the hangars of a digital age. But beneath the familiar skin of the world's most successful air superiority fighter lies a transformation that has redefined the very philosophy of the American sky. July 2024 marked a threshold. While the headlines often focus on the invisible, the F-35s and F-22s that slip through radar like whispers, the Air Force quieted the skeptics by achieving full operational capability with a beast that demands to be seen. The F-15EX is not a retreat into the past. It is a calculated, heavy-handed response to a world where stealth is no longer the only currency of survival. The strategy in the Pacific has shifted. It is no longer just about hiding, it is about weight. It is about the sheer, unadulterated capacity to carry the burden of war. For decades, the F-15 was the undisputed king, a platform built on the logic of not a pound for air-to-ground. But the Eagle II has evolved into something the Pentagon calls an arsenal ship. Imagine for a moment the cockpit of an F-16 light, agile but limited. Now imagine a single aircraft carrying more than the entire empty weight of that F-16 in pure firepower. We are talking about 29,500 pounds of ordnance. This is the weapons truck that broke the records of history. In the heat of a simulated dogfight over the Oregon coast, pilots realized the math had changed. A standard F-15 carries 8 missiles.
Fuel tanks
in January
perfectly
2023,
into the aerodynamic
took to the skies with 12, but the digital blueprints and the reinforced wing structures re-engineered with fly-by-wire controls that eliminated the structural jitters of its ancestors unlocked a theoretical reality that sent tremors through foreign intelligence agencies. 22 air-to-air missiles on a single frame. 22. In a modern aerial engagement, where a stealth fighter might carry 6 to 8 missiles internally to maintain its invisibility, the F-15EX stands as the brute force solution. It is the realization of the loyal wingman doctrine in its most lethal form. The F-35 flies ahead silent and unseen, acting as the eyes and the brain. It finds the target, whispers the coordinates through a secure data link, and the Eagle II, lurking miles behind safe but heavily armed, unleashes a rain of amrams. The Eagle II does not need to hide. It simply needs to exist at a scale the enemy cannot match. But firepower is a hollow boast without the senses to direct it. The nose of the EX houses the AN/A-P-G-8-V1A ESA radar. It is a system that does not merely look, it perceives. Thousands of independent modules scan the horizon, mapping terrain, tracking multiple threats and simultaneously jamming enemy frequency. It is the difference between a
targeting
flashlight
solution
and a
achieved.
Yet the true shadow work happens
Analyzing
within the
infrared
EPA,
signature.
WSS,
Hostile
the
classification
Eagle
pending.
Passive Active Warning Survivability System. Developed in the quiet laboratories of BAE Systems, this suite is the aircraft's digital shield. By April 2024, during rigorous operational testing, it proved that it could do more than just detect a threat. It could anticipate. Using algorithms that border on the sentient, it analyzes the flavor of an enemy radar pulse and constructs a tailored jamming response in a fraction of a second. It doesn't just protect itself, it projects a bubble of electronic safety for every friendly tail within its reach. This is the paradox of the Eagle II. It is a legacy airframe housing a futuristic mind. The mission computer, the ADCP-2, is currently the fastest processor ever bolted into a fighter. It processes millions of lines of code per second, turning a chaotic battlefield of electronic noise drone data, and radar returns into a clear, actionable picture on a massive, single-piece touch display. The pilot no longer flies a plane in the traditional sense, they manage a node in a global network of violence. The silence in the cockpit is deceptive. Every second the aircraft is learning. With the integration of cognitive electronic warfare, the F-15EX isn't just following a program, it is observing enemy behavior and adapting its tactics mid-flight. If an adversary shifts their radar frequency, the Eagle II notices, remembers, and counters. This isn't just about winning the next fight, it's about ensuring the enemy realizes the fight was over before they even saw the first missile leave the rail. The weight of 22 missiles is heavy, but the weight of the responsibility it carries is heavier. As the sun sets over the hangars at Portland, the silhouette of the Eagle II remains a 50-year-old ghost now possessed by a digital soul, waiting for the command to remind the world why it was never truly retired. Beyond the raw accumulation of missiles and the invisible shield of electronic warfare, the F-15EX Eagle II is stepping into a role that feels pulled from the pages of speculative fiction. It is becoming the quarterback of the sky. In the traditional theater of war, a pilot's focus was narrow the horizon, the radar and the immediate threat. But as we move deeper into the 2020s, the Pentagon has recognized a grim reality. Manned aircraft are too expensive and too precious to lose in the first wave. The solution lies in collaborative combat aircraft (CCA), or what the industry calls loyal wingmen. These are autonomous AI-driven drones designed to fly into the teeth of enemy defenses. The F-15EX, with its unique two-seat configuration and massive processing power, has been selected to lead this robotic swarm. Imagine a mission over a contested island chain. The F-15EX does not fly alone. It is flanked by 4 CC as unmanned shadows that carry their own sensors and weapons. From the backseat of the Eagle II, the Weapon Systems Officer WSO manages these drones like a grandmaster on a chessboard. The drones scout ahead, pushing into high-threat zones where a human pilot would be at extreme risk. They draw enemy fire, forcing hidden surface-to-air missile batteries to reveal their location. When a threat is identified, the WSO doesn't just pull a trigger. They task a drone to neutralize the target. If an enemy fighter closes in a CCA, maneuvers to intercept, potentially sacrificing itself to ensure the manned quarterback remains untouched. This interoperability transforms a single F-15EX into a 5-aircraft strike package controlled by 2 humans who are safely removed from the point of maximum danger. This coordination is made possible by the aircraft's Open Mission Systems (OMS) architecture. Historically, upgrading a fighter jet was a bureaucratic and mechanical nightmare. To add a new capability, you had to tear the plane apart, rewrite proprietary code, and spend years in flight testing. The F-15EX changes this paradigm entirely. Its digital backbone is built on standardized interfaces, much like the operating system on a smartphone. In tests conducted throughout 2023 and 2024, Boeing demonstrated that new software could be pushed to the aircraft in containers. If a new enemy radar is detected on Monday, a software countermeasure can be developed, tested, and uploaded to the entire fleet by Friday. There is even talk within the Air Force of in-flight updates, where a mission computer could download new tactical software while the pilot is en route to the target. This agility is why the Pentagon looked past the aging exterior of the Eagle. They weren't buying an old plane, they were buying a high-speed flying server that could carry the heaviest weapons in the inventory. And those weapons are getting faster. We have entered the era of the hypersonic. Weapons like the AGM-18, 3 ARW air launch, rapid response weapon, and the HACM hypersonic attack cruise missile represent the pinnacle of modern lethality. These missiles travel at speeds exceeding Mach 5 over 3,800 miles per hour. At those speeds, the physics of air defense begin to break down. By the time an enemy radar confirms a hypersonic track, the weapon has already impacted. Most fighter jets are too small to carry these massive 22-foot long projectiles. The F-15EX, however, was designed with a reinforced center-line station and high-clearance landing gear specifically to hold these strategic assets. This gives the Eagle II a standoff capability that is terrifying to adversaries. It doesn't need to dodge missiles or hide from radar. It simply launches a hypersonic strike from hundreds of miles away, well outside the reach of enemy defenses, and watches as the target is obliterated before the alarm can even sound. The integration of the HACM, which uses a scramjet engine to breathe air and maintain extreme velocity, turns the F-15EX into a global strike platform. It bridges the gap between a tactical fighter and a strategic bomber. Yet for all this technology, the transition for the human element has been remarkably smooth. Because the EX shares 70% of its parts with older F-15 models, maintenance crews don't need years of retraining. Pilots can transition from an older C or D model to the EX in about 2 weeks. It is a plug-and-play solution for an Air Force that is currently stretched thin. The skeptics who called the F-15EX a step backward
This close-up
are now
reveals
watching
the
it lead the
intricate
way
cooling
into the
channels of the
24th.
main
It
combustion
is the only
chamber,
aircraft
just
in the
before
world
the
that can carry
engine
22
roars to
missiles
life.
jam, an entire integrated air defense system, command a swarm of autonomous drones, and launch a hypersonic missile, all while flying at 2.5 times the speed of sound. The Eagle hasn't just returned to the nest, it has rebuilt the sky in its own image. It is a reminder that in the cold hard logic of geopolitics, sometimes the most advanced move is to take a proven warrior and give it the mind of a god. In the quiet halls of the Pentagon, the F-15EX is no longer viewed as a stopgap. It is seen as the ultimate insurance policy. As we look toward the 2030s and 2040s, the Eagle II represents a profound realization. Stealth is a fleeting advantage, but versatility is eternal. The true genius of this aircraft lies in its ability to solve the numbers problem. In a high-end conflict against a near-peer adversary, the United States cannot afford to wait years for new hardware to roll off the assembly line. The F-15EX leverages existing infrastructure, the same hangar, the same fuel lines, the same veteran mechanics who have lived and breathed the Eagle for decades.
Pushing through Mach
This allows the Air
1.5,
Force to inject
altitude reading
massive
steady
amounts
at
of modern
50,000.
lethality into the fleet almost overnight. But beyond the logistics, there is a psychological weight to this machine. When an adversary looks at the radar and sees a single F-15EX, they aren't just seeing one pilot, they are seeing a potential volley of 22 missiles. They are seeing an invisible web of electronic jamming that can blind their sensors. They are seeing a command and control node that might be directing a dozen lethal drones. It is a presence that forces the enemy to hesitate, and in air combat hesitation is fatal. The F-15EX is a bridge between two worlds. It honors the heritage of the pilots who came before the Eagle, who dominated the skies of the 20th century, while embracing a future where software and artificial intelligence are the primary weapons of war. It is a titan made of both steel and silicon. Ultimately, the Eagle II teaches us that the most effective weapon is the one that can adapt. It doesn't matter how old the design is, if the heart beating inside it is the most advanced technology on the planet. By merging 50 years of combat-proven airframe design with a digital soul, the United States hasn't just updated a fighter, it has created a permanent guardian for the skies of tomorrow. As the F-15EX continues to roll out to National Guard bases and active duty wings, it carries with it a simple, unmistakable message. American air superiority isn't just about being invisible, it's about being invincible. War is a tragedy of human choice, yet the tools we build to prevent it define the peace we keep. The Eagle II is a testament to that endurance, a silent sentinel ready to carry the weight of the future.